Da ba da 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 ba da da. Da 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 da
Sunset falling on the news so slow, where the train winds home and the stories flow. From Tryon Palace to the streets we roam. Yeah, this place ain't just a town, it's home. Yeah. This is a golden hour, where the light hits right, where New Bern shines in that coastal light. Every voice, every story, every dream out loud. Yeah, we're lifting up this city proud. This is a golden hour. Well, it ain't golden. Yeah. Sunset falling on the news so slow, where the tram winds home and the stories flow. From Tryon Palace to the streets we roam. Yeah, this place ain't just a town, it's home. Yeah, this is a golden hour. Ooh, I am. Ooh, I am. Ooh, I am. This is the golden hour. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Golden Hour. I'm so glad that you could join us today. I'm super excited for our guests today. Real quick, just want to highlight a property that I have for sale. I highlighted a couple 2 weeks ago. And both of them have sold since then. So super exciting times in real estate. We were out of town last week, so we missed last week, and I didn't even make an announcement or anything about that, so I apologize. But want to highlight real quick 316 Hawks Bluff. It is another new construction that I have. It is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath. This one is listed at $314,900. There's some seller incentives included, including some lender incentives. And speaking of lender incentives, I would like to introduce you guys to a good friend of mine and our guest today, Mr. Lloyd Daw. Hey, Lloyd.
Hey, how is everybody?
Great. Oops, I hit the wrong button. How are you?
Good. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you. I know it's some people love Wednesdays, some of them hate them, but we're halfway through, so that is good. How are you doing, Lloyd? How is your business? I'll start there.
Business is good. It's
Yeah.
New Bern, the surrounding areas. I think the beach, our area is basically an area that people want to move to. So people are selling, moving here. A lot of people are paying cash and doing, financing on a little bit of the property. And so, but people we're a desirable area, so people are still moving here. Different parts of the country, the news maybe says that it's slowing down in real estate in different areas, but that's not true here. I think we're really picking up and probably even going to get even busier.
Yeah, I've had a slower winter than I have normally. Um, Well, I say that like through December was chaos, and then like January, February a little slower, but we're definitely seeing an uptick in listings and buyers who are coming in, and people finally getting off the sidelines. I feel like we've had a lot of buyers just sitting on the side, just waiting for I don't really know what, but just waiting. But real quick,
waiting for rates to come down. But I think people are coming. It's becoming normal now where rates are at.
hmm
And so they're like, okay, I've got to move my family.
yeah,
I need a bigger house, or I need a smaller house. I need to downsize, and I'm not going to wait and see what rates do. I still have to live my life, and that's what people are starting to make that decision with.
very smart. In your opinion, do you think that they will go down? I've talked to a few lenders on that topic. Or do you think? I mean, we're still well below average of the last 20 years. So, what is your insight on that?
My personal opinion is that we'll see them come down a little bit, but we won't see them back where they were in 2020, 21, 22. So,
Right.
but I think that right now is the normal rate. If rates are too low, inflation gets too high, and that's one of the reasons why we're in the situation that we're in now. And so I think that if they get rates too low, then we're just going to see inflation to continue to increase, and that's not going to be helpful for the economy. So I think the government's going to try to keep things kind of where they're at, or maybe a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Where are they at right now? Just let people who don't know.
You're in the sixes, maybe high fives, depending upon the
Mm-hmm.
product, or 6.5 or lower right now, depending upon what you're doing.
And that's really not bad. I mean, my research has shown the average over 20 years being about 8%. So we're
That's correct. And you
low.
talk to some people and they can remember when rates were 10 or 12%. So
hmm That's crazy. I
um,
just can't even
we've
fathom.
just gotten spoiled with rates being, 3% for a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm super excited about our topic today. And I'm really excited to hear stories because you brought it up, but I've actually never heard the stories. So, you've built a reputation for getting deals done around here that most people would have walked away from. When did you realize that you were that guy that could do it?
I think, in the beginning, I just don't like to lose. So I like being very competitive,
hmm
and, being able to see that other people were turning people away, and not helping them. And I don't necessarily know that it was because, there was a problem. It was because they just didn't listen to their story, and didn't take the time to, actually find out about their full financial situation,
hmm
and then lead them in the right direction. Because I always say, if someone calls me, or they come by and we start talking mortgages, everyone deserves to be able to purchase a house. We
hmm
just have to figure out if we can do it now or if we're going to do it later, and
hmm
educate them on what they need to do to be able to do it when it's time to be able to purchase. So, I mean, paying your bills on time is kind of a big deal.
hmm
That helps get a mortgage.
Yeah.
And so, if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be able to get a mortgage. But if you are, and you're working hard and you're watching your finances, then we're going to be able to get you in a house. There's a lot of products and stuff out there for folks to help them get into the house and do 100% financing, even pay closing costs. So there's a misconception that people have to have 20% down or have to have a big savings. We've closed people that have, $100 in their account, and they're able to buy a house. Now, do you really want to have just $100 when you really move into a house? Absolutely not. I think you should have a little bit more than that.
hmm
And even if you are doing 100% financing, you still need to have some money saved up. You need to have probably 500 to $1,000, because you're going to have inspections that you're going to need to pay. You're
hmm
going to have earnest money and due diligence that you need to pay. You're going to need to pay for your appraisal. So you're going to have a little bit of money, even if you're doing 100% financing, because you have to have money to put out, and you may be able to get it all back at closing.
hmm
But you're going to need to not stretch your finances too far when you're trying to purchase that house, and have that little bit of savings, even though you are doing maybe 100% financing.
hmm I love that you said 500 to $1,000 because I feel like that number is so doable for the average person.
It
Um,
is. Yeah.
exactly what you said. The misconception is I need tens of thousands of dollars to make this happen, and you don't necessarily have to do that. What's the first deal that comes to mind when you hear this should not have closed? and your
Well,
story.
I want to know why. Why did it not close? Like, tell
Mhm.
me what someone told you or what happened, and then we, can help a lot of folks. We had a deal. We had to close in 13 days. It was a online lender who sells leads to realtors. A lot of people know it. Starts with a Z. I'm not going to name them, out too much, but they're doing mortgages now.
Mm.
And they had someone who was leaving the military, had a job lined up, and would not accept his offer letter. I looked over it. Realtor called me and said, "Hey, Lloyd, what can we do to fix this? This is You're the only one I could think of that could try to help me get this done, and we need to get it done quickly." And we got that deal started. We looked over it, told them we shouldn't have any issues at all, not understanding really why the other lender was having the issues. But we got the application from them, got it disclosed the same day, got everything going. They already had an appraisal back and everything. They were supposed to close in like 6 days, and that's why we had to extend the date out just a little bit to be able to have enough time to process everything. But we got them closed 3 days late. But it was basically within, I think, 12 days is what we ended up doing the closing from start to finish, and got the folks into the house, and they got a better interest rate. So I didn't even ask what the interest rate was because I was just worried about getting them closed. And then
Mhm.
afterwards, they told us our rate was over 1% less than what it was with the other lender. And I'm wondering why that was the case. But people don't understand that there is a difference between lenders. And you need to make sure that you do shop around, check with the lenders, make sure that you're getting good advice and that folks are educated, to help you with it, but then also check the rates and fees to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that tip. So our topic is the impossible closings. So walk me through a deal that looked completely dead from the start. One that you got a hold of that, whether it was the agent or the buyer or you, thought there was absolutely no way that that was going to happen.
So I'll tell you about a rehab loan that we did recently. It was a property that needed renovations. Property was not in very good state. There was also a road that ran right through the middle of the property, and so it was two parcels on each side. And I thought, how in the world are we going to get this thing closed? But between the attorney, the realtor, and us, we came up with a plan, got everything done, and we got it closed. It took about 60 days to make everything happen. We actually had to get a letter from DOT. But in the beginning, I told the folks I didn't really know if we were going to get this closed or not, but we ended up getting it closed. Folks were extremely excited, and were able to make the house the way they wanted. They wanted to redo the kitchen, um, put some new siding on the outside, put a new roof on, new heat pump, and so basically they had an almost brand new house when they got finished with it. But because the road was running through there, I thought that we were going to have an issue. But we ended up getting it done. But it was just everybody worked together. They really wanted it, did everything we told them to do, got with the DMV, got the letter that we needed, and we got it closed. And it was a VA loan. So
Oh, wow. That's even more. Wow.
VA renovation. Yep.
Sheesh. Well, what are you finding when you hit these impossible situations or the ones that come to you? What is the biggest holdup on? Is it people's credit, appraisal issues, your underwriters kicking back? Like, what are you seeing being the biggest holdup on these difficulties? Besides a road running through the property, that's a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one. Most of the time, what we're seeing when we get a deal that can't close somewhere else, it's an underwriter who
Mm,
interprets the guideline differently than what it should be.
mm,
And it's really, I mean, that's my biggest challenge is every day I have to argue the point of what we're trying to get done to make them agree with what I'm trying to say because I'm the customer's advocate.
mhm,
But when we get someone who's been turned down somewhere else, um, the reason for that most of the time is because different lenders have different overlays, and the overlays protect the bank from buybacks. And what that means essentially is that if a loan closes and then a payment's not made in a timely manner afterwards, like it's supposed to be done, then they can make the lender buy the loan back. And so lenders will put overlays on, meaning that they come up with their own rules to try to make it so they don't have to do those buybacks, which is it basically protects them, but it's not always the best thing for the consumer if they're doing that, because that new rule can be interpreted in the wrong way and make it so they're not approved.
Mm, that's interesting. Um, so do you have any other stories that you wanted to include on I'd love to hear like a few of them that were really difficult, whether it was credit repair. Do you guys handle that as well? Like if somebody comes up and has a credit that doesn't quite meet the mark or
Absolutely. So I said earlier that we talk with folks and we tell them if we can do a loan now or if we can do it later. And
Mhm,
so the folks that are going to be able to do a loan later is probably going to have maybe a credit issue or an income issue that we need to work on. And so when we get finished with their application, we normally we have a software that we can put them through and show them what they can do with their credit to be able to maybe get their scores up a little bit. So we give that to them and tell them, hey, watch your information through a free monitoring service. And when you see those scores jump back up where they need to be at after doing what we tell you, come back to us and let us know, and then we'll try this again and see what we can do. And we do a soft pull on their credit, so it doesn't affect their credit scores when they're trying to get pre-approved. Um, and then when they come back to us, and their scores have increased, then we can maybe get something going at that point. But I think credit is the biggest thing that people have issues with. But I don't believe in sending them to someone to fix their credit because those companies charge a fee a lot of times.
mhm,
And I don't necessarily see a great output of those folks coming back with their credit fixed
mhm,
because they really can't do anything besides put that maybe the dispute the credit report. And if they dispute something, yeah, that's going to help their scores go up. But then when we go to run their credit, we can't have anything in dispute. So we have to take it out of there. So
mm,
those companies that are charging to be able to help people with the credit, I believe they're taking advantage of folks. And so we don't send folks to them because they're charging, 100, $150 a month. And I've seen people be with a credit monitoring service for 2 or 3 years and not have gotten anything out of it, and they're paying 100 to $150 a month for that. I don't think that that's a good way of spending your money. Instead of doing that, use that extra money to pay towards a bill.
right. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So what would you for those I have a lot of buyers who come up um who really don't understand the process as a whole. And it's our job as real estate agents, you guys as the lenders, to help educate them on that topic. But if somebody were to come up to you and be like, I had one recently that said, well, I mean, my credit score is like 790. I don't even know if I qualify. And I was like, well, that's actually pretty good.
It's a great credit
It's a
score.
great
Yes.
credit score. So what is the like? I know it varies based on person, all the details, but like, um, minimum credit score. Where would you say like you need to be above this particular number ish to qualify?
I think anyone above 580 should try.
Okay, so you think somebody at 580 could possibly still qualify for a mortgage?
Absolutely. Yes. And you know what? If you are at 580 and you can't qualify, then we're going to tell you what you need to do to be able to do it.
Hmm.
And so think of us as being a mortgage coach, and we're going to coach you into getting your mortgage. And so if you can't do something right now, and how are you going to get from 580 to 640 if you need to do that
Hmm.
if you don't talk to somebody and get started? You
Hmm.
you can't figure it out on your own. I mean, you can maybe put it in AI and it'll tell you what to do, but that's not the same thing as dealing with someone who's been doing it for over 20 years and giving you those real life examples of what to do to help you get into that house. Um, so I think just ask the questions, just do an application. Let us look at your information and advise you of what the next steps are. Because if you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so the best way to get started is just to ask the questions. Let us lead you in the right direction. That's what we do every day is help folks, and we try to get folks pre-approved within 24 hours. If we can't get you approved now, we're going to tell you what we can do to try to help you get approved later. We're not just going to tell you go away.
Hmm.
There's none of that.
Is there any stupid question when it comes to this?
Absolutely not. Only the one that's not asked, right?
And I can't tell you how many people I have, whether they're in my sphere, just in passing, oh, I wouldn't qualify. I wouldn't qualify. I need to do this first. I need to do that first. For somebody who says that, what is your answer? Um, when they haven't actually taken any steps towards seeing if they do. But their argument is always that, oh, I'm sure I wouldn't qualify. Oh, I have too much debt. Oh, I have, but they really have no idea.
Well, how are you going to get out of that situation or change that mindset if you don't ask someone who's an expert? When you go to do your taxes, what do? You don't fill the form out. You go online and you use the software to either do it yourself or you find an expert to help you do your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with a mortgage. You need to find the expert, talk to the expert, talk to them about your situation, and then act on it. If you really want to make it happen, you can do it. Anybody can purchase a house.
Mm-hmm.
They just have to have the right person tell them what to do to be able to get there. Even if they think that they can't right now, they
Mm-hmm.
can do it later. Do you know how many single moms we've helped? Do you know how many people that are first generation home buyer that no one else in their household has ever bought a house? Those people, when they close on their house, it makes me super proud to be able to help them. It helps. That's the American dream, is being
Mm-hmm.
able to purchase a home.
Yeah.
And to be able to get somebody who thought that they could never do this, that's why we do what we do.
Yeah, for sure. I really needed some people to hear that because I'm like, just fill out the application. They're like, oh, it's too complex. How complex is your application? How long does it
It's
take?
not it's not complex at all. It takes about 15 minutes to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
You should know most of the information off the top of your head. It's very intuitive. It asks one question at a time. You just answer it all, you make it to the end. And then when it comes to us, we call you and review it all with you and make sure it's all correct. So if you put the application in and you goof something up, we're going to call and go through every one of those questions again, make sure everything's answered correctly. And then my team gets with me and then we go over solutions and come up with a solution, of a way to help you. And most of the time people, are come to us and they fill it out and they don't know if they're going to be able to get approved. And then we explain to them what the payments would be, how much money they need to bring to closing, how much money they need to have throughout the process, and what make sure that everything fits into their budget because we may approve you for something and you'd be like, I can't make that payment every month, Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go down in price, or you know what, maybe that payment's a little less than I thought it was going to be. I can go up in price and find a house that fits my needs and my family needs a little bit more than the houses that I was actually looking at. So fill that application out. The soft pull on the credit doesn't affect your credit scores. That's what a lot of folks were afraid of in the beginning. It was a hard pull. Now we
Mm-hmm.
have soft pull, and it doesn't affect credit scores, and it doesn't cost anything to get pre-approved.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think that you can't buy a house and you haven't talked to somebody, it's your own fault.
Oh, there it is.
It's your own fault.
Yep. So tell me real quick for like my goal in all of this is to educate people who like we talk in lingo, we talk in terms that people just don't understand. So you say soft pull versus hard pull. What is the difference in that, and what does each one do?
That's a great question. So soft pull now, basically, a lender can pull a soft pull, and it gives us the same thing as what we would have if we did a hard pull. And a hard pull, the difference is that it affects your credit scores. Most of the time, you have to have a hard pull to be able to close.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll eventually pull a hard pull on your credit, but it's kind of like when you go to the car dealership and they run your credit through 20 different places to try to get you the best interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that affects your credit scores, how many times your credit was pulled within a specific period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is because back in the day, people would go to different lenders and they'd pull out different loans. And before they got a chance to report them to the credit bureau, um, you people would find out that they took out three different loans with three different companies at three different times, and then it would all get reported, and then the people wouldn't pay it back.
Right.
With technology the way it is today, things are reported a lot quicker, so it's not as the way it used to be. But that's the way the credit reports still score based on that. And so if you have a lot of people pull your credit, your scores come down because they're making sure that you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul
Mm-hmm.
and doing that. And that's the reason why that rule is in effect.
That makes sense. One question I get often, and let's say I have a buyer who comes and they're like, "Oh, I'm approved with Rocket Mortgage." I'm like, "Okay, Great. So excited for you. Can you talk to a couple more lenders and kind of see what we can do with that? They usually ask me, well, won't that hurt my credit if I talk to more than one lender because of that right there? They know that they'll pull. Does that affect their score if they talk to multiple people and you are all looking at it at the same time or within a reasonable amount of time?
So the rule is, I think, is 30 days, if it is hard pull. But if they did a soft pull, we do a soft pull, it's not affecting you by shopping around.
Okay.
So the rules right now are very consumer friendly. So I would suggest, talking to different lenders and going with whoever you feel more comfortable with.
Mhm.
Go with the lender who takes the time to listen to you to find out your full financial situation, gives you options, and educates you throughout the process.
Mm, I agree with that. I still learn stuff every day. Um, when we honestly didn't buy our first house until I think we were like 30. I was late to the game on that one. And it was because of all these lies. And I was very successful real estate agent, but I also believed all the lies that we weren't going to qualify, that I had too much debt, that I had, XYZ, because I was creating something in my own mind of what I thought the picture looked like. And I reached out to the lender at the time and I was like, can you tell me, my question was, can you tell me what I need to do in order to buy my house? And she said, oh, I think I lost him. Are you there? Um, she said, absolutely nothing. Can you guys see him? I might have lost the guest. I've never had that happen before. Well, everybody who is watching, my question for you guys is, do you have any specific questions you have? Like any specific questions for Lloyd? Okay, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yes, not sure what happened there.
I don't either. It just went solid black. But if anybody has any question, yeah, Lloyd is gone. Yeah, everybody's gone. No Lloyd, no Lloyd, no Lloyd. He's back. Can you guys see him now? Hey, okay, perfect. Um, I'm asking them if they had any specific questions for you also, and if so, I will get them to you. But what I was saying was literally the response from the lender was, "You don't have to do anything. You qualify, just sign. Let's buy it." And me and Aaron both were like, "What? There's no way," But had no idea because there was all these preconceived ideas that I don't even know where they came from. Me in real estate, I should know the answer to that, but from a personal stuff, I didn't had no idea. So basically, the first step is fill out that application. I'd like you to also maybe relieve a little anxiety for potential buyers as well. They know that they're going to have to provide um, tax forms. They're going to have to provide bank statements. And I think that they've heard so many things in the past on that. How simple is it now to get you that information?
So in today's world, you may not even have to give us pay stubs. You may not have to give us bank statements. You may not have to give us tax returns. So, and the old rules are we need 30 days of pay stubs. We need 60 days of bank statements. We need 2 years of tax returns.
Mm-hmm.
But in today's world, everything's so electronic. We can get some of those things electronically without even you having to upload them or give them to us.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, anyone who's looking at purchasing a house or maybe is thinking about buying a house or telling themselves that they can't do it, get the cobwebs out of your brain because you can do it, and quit making excuses of why you can't until you actually talk to someone and they tell you that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone does tell you you can't, always ask for a second opinion. Go to someone else because one lender may say that you can't, and then another lender may say that you can.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is make sure that whatever you're doing fits within your budget and don't allow anybody to get you outside of what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. That's a good tip. Have you found, competitively wise, other lenders say no just because it's too complex?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You have a couple different properties, or maybe, you had 3 or 4 different employers in the last, 2 years. We have to document all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So some lenders just won't do it if it's harder to do. or maybe they don't understand how some of the different products work. For instance, if someone's self-employed, and maybe they don't show the income that they need on their tax returns, we've got products that we can do that we can use bank statements to create income. We can do a 1099 loan for someone who may not show that income on their tax returns the way that it needs to be able to be approvable, um, with the lender. So there's lots of different things that are out there now, especially in today's world, because there's investors who are willing to take the risk that maybe a traditional mortgage may say no to.
Mhm.
And if you don't know those products as a lender, then you're not doing your customers justice, because there are things that are out there that may be better for someone to be able to do as an investor, or maybe a second home, or maybe even someone who, like I said, is self-employed. There are different options out there than just a regular traditional mortgage.
What are there a couple that you guys have at guaranteed rates that you are extremely knowledgeable that you'd like to highlight real quick for anybody who's could be first time home buyers? You did the 1099 one. I didn't know about that. That is intriguing. But do you have any other things you'd like to mention?
Well, we do a lot of first time home buyers, but we also do a lot of folks who are buying a house that's, you know, $1 million house. So we do everything from the $50,000 loan to the $3 million loan, and kind of everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people are comfortable, or maybe they've got their house paid off and they're looking at purchasing a beach house, or they're wanting to purchase a second home in the mountains, or we lend in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia now, and Colorado. So we can lend in any of those states. But then there's folks that you know may need to refinance as well. There's a lot of folks who may have 3% interest rates on their mortgage, but they've got $50,000 in credit card debt. How
Mm-hmm.
are you going to get that $50,000 in credit card debt paid down at 22, 25, 30% interest rates? Sometimes it's better to maybe refinance the mortgage, take the cash out of the house because the house is appreciated,
Mm-hmm.
get those debts paid off, and now get those 30% to 6% rates. And then you're going to make a lot more leverage on that debt by doing that, and get those things paid down, and also increase your cash flow monthly.
Mm. Yeah, that's awesome. We did have a question. You might have answered it. He just answered it. Yeah. Can you tell us again, though? She was asking what other states you do business in. Can you say that again for us? You said North Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely. So North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, and Georgia.
Georgia. So, Kelly, if your client lives in any of those, let us know and we can get them connected. She said she has a client who or has somebody in another state who has self-employed issues with that type of thing. So, um I think you already answered that question. So, what are some red flags people shouldn't try to work around? So, is there some things that pop up that you're like, okay, that's not good, or have you been able to basically work through almost everything?
No, I mean, I think if a red flag kind of gets in your way, if there's something that that makes it there, and I don't know what that would be. Let me think. Um,
I couldn't really think of one either, but I don't deal with that part as much.
yeah, I think in our business, people get under contract and they've become really happy with the house, and super excited about it, and then they get a home inspection back. And then the home inspection may have, 30 different things that need to be fixed. But if it's small little things, you can do those on your own.
Hmm.
But if it's something major, that's where you really need to look at, maybe that isn't the right property for you to purchase. um, if it's going to require 20 or $30,000 worth of structural work to be able to fix it.
Hmm.
If you don't have that money, then you need to walk away from it. And you need to find out. That's one of the benefits of having that home inspection, is making sure that you find out those issues while that house is not your house. That's somebody else's problem at that time. But as soon as you sign and that deed's recorded, now it's your problem. And you need to make sure that you're okay with that. And I think that would be one of the reasons maybe to walk away from something, if you were to find that out throughout the process.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Appraisals and stuff. Have you guys been running into a whole lot of issues with those, or have they been pretty smooth the last few months?
Appraisals have been pretty smooth. I actually have an investor buying three different properties right now, and three different appraisers did the appraisal, and it's new construction. One of them was off by 25,000, the other one was off by five, and the other one's right on the mark. And it just goes to show that an appraisal is one person's opinion of value, and that they're not always correct. But if you do get an appraisal and it comes back in and it's not where it needs to be at, there's a few things that we can try to do to try to fix that. We can ask for a reconsideration of value, and the realtor can give us some comps, maybe to give back to the appraiser and ask for them to reconsider that value. We can look and see if there's any inaccuracies, and sometimes we can get an appraisal thrown out, and be able to order a new one. If it's a VA, and VA will give us, if they think the appraisal is going to come in low, they'll tell us that it's a tide order, and that gives us time to get some comps to the appraiser, maybe from the real estate agent, to tell them why the value should be where it's at. If they call Tidewater, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come in low. Sometimes it comes back in at value. But then if it doesn't come back in and it look where it needs to be at and it is low, we can then send it to the VA and ask for them to look at it as well. And then that's a second opinion on that appraisal. So there's lots of different ways that um, we can look at appraisals and kind of see if there are some differences if we need to get something fixed. So if it does come in low, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the end all, that that's not going to work. And you can also maybe negotiate with the seller too if that happens, and get that purchase price down a little bit if we do have an appraisal issue.
What is the I'm trying to think how to word this one. So appraisal wise, um, there's one particular loan, right? Is there any other loan where an appraisal attaches to the house for a period of time once it is accepted?
So that's an old rule. It's no
Hmm.
longer in effect, essentially.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes me
Mhm.
happy.
So, and the appraisal is good for the person who ordered it, really, is the way it should be.
I agree. So used to what was a VA would last keep it for 6 months. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And so it doesn't do that anymore.
No,
Well,
and we
shoot.
can order a new one. Yep.
Well, that is something I learned today. Thank you. Worth every moment as usual. Well, that's so cool. Okay, well, real quick, I want to do kind of like a rapid fire question air to you, basically. What's the lowest credit score you've ever gotten to the closing table?
580.
580. How long did it take to get to that closing table out of 580?
30 days.
What's the shortest time you saved a deal in? I think you just told us that like 15 days or
No, no, 8 days is the quickest. That was just an example of one. But yeah, 8 days. It takes, yeah, it takes 7 days. 8 days is really the soonest that you can close,
mm-hmm.
because you have to disclose. There's rules and laws that are in effect. So 8 days is the soonest really you can close on a deal. And we've done that.
Jeez, that is crazy. One word to describe underwriting.
Hmm. Fun.
That was not the one I would have picked, but good job. What's the biggest myth about getting a mortgage?
That you have to have money for a down payment.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Okay. Well, at this point, I would love to ask you about you and your family and how you guys are doing. For those that don't know, you guys have gone through an accident recently with your son, and I'd love you to share, like I said before, as little or as none much as you're comfortable with. But we just want to know how you guys are doing and how everything is over there.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'll tell you this is that being in a smaller community, and we've had lots of prayers, and those prayers have been working, and so we want to keep those prayers coming. I believe that faith and us pushing, and just having the right doctors and being in the right hospital and all that kind of stuff. I'm currently in Atlanta, and we've been basically away from home for 6 months now, helping my son, and he's doing a lot better. And if you guys can just keep praying for me and my family and all of us to stay strong, he's every day is getting better. He did have a traumatic brain injury. Fell off of a parking garage, and fell over 6 stories. And so, but he is pushing, and we're pushing, and it's just, we're hoping to get him back to where he was at before he had his accident. So
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we watch the videos, we see the posts, we're continuously praying. He looks like he's doing really good.
yes.
Especially comparing like video to video that's being posted with moving and responding and doing all that stuff. So that's super encouraging. So you said that you guys are going to be leaving the hospital like the end of the month?
Yeah, everything's kind of not set in stone yet, but we're
Yeah.
supposed to be discharged from the hospital the end of the month, and then we'll have rehab, which he'll do a half a day rehab, and they have a program here in Georgia, the Shepherd Center, that we'll be joining him with, and he'll probably do that for another 8 weeks or so after we get out,
Hmm.
and then hopefully we'll be able to get home after that.
That'd be awesome.
So
What can we do for you guys here in Eastern North Carolina? Um, Prayers, obviously, and I know that's like a really hard question, but is there anything that you would like to ask for or mention, and that we can step up and help you guys?
I appreciate it. I'm not good at asking, so
Yeah, you've
I
already
just
said you are
I
stubborn.
think
So.
yes, yes, I am. I'm very stubborn, but I just want the prayers and the love to keep coming. And you guys, if we need something, we'll put it out there, and just kind of, I don't know. It's hard to ask for help, but it's really nice to see everybody out there and know that you're cared about and loved when you're in a situation like you're in right now, like we're in right now, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, don't hesitate to, because I know everybody really, I understand the difficulty of asking, but ev- there's only so much we can do. So anything we can, we will. So don't ever hesitate. Um, Ever. So, and I know one of the ways you guys can help him is by calling him for mortgages, because that will always help families if they can make more money.
Absolutely. Not only that, but it also helps keep, my mind on different things because, got a lot going on,
Yeah.
and to be able to have something else to concentrate on, helps, do it. And believe it or not, I actually enjoy my job. I like what I do. I like being able to help people.
Yeah. That's awesome. So after everything, business wins and your personal challenges, what would you say keeps you going? So it's been a rough year for y'all, for sure.
I would just say faith and doing what we do to help others be successful. I want to see everybody succeed,
Hmm. I love
and
that.
seeing people succeed and get in their house and, um, build a family themselves and be able to, help themselves and others. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah, I love that. His wife also, for those that don't know, she has a dance studio here in New Bern as well. So would you like to like put in a plug for Wendy in here as well if anybody's looking for an awesome dance studio?
Absolutely. Wendy owns Down East Dance on Trent Road, and basically does a little bit of everything: ballet, tap, jazz, adult classes. Has a lot of been doing it for a long time. Loves what she's doing, and she's running the studio from here, um, and everybody seems to be enjoying it and having a good time. And their recitals coming up, so we're going to be coming home to help with that. And just let us know if we can help you at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was telling him my two older girls were in it for years. We lived right up the street and they loved it. They do a great job over there, and the recitals are adorable. So as we're like wrapping this up, if someone, which I know there is somebody watching this somewhere who feels like their situation is impossible, what would you like to say to them right now?
Just give us a call. Let us know what we can do to try to help. Just dial the number. My cell phone number is 252-229-4754. You shoot us a quick text or give us a call, but make that first step. Just all it takes is a telephone call for us to start the conversation. And before you know it, hopefully we'll be getting you in your house.
Yeah, For sure. Like you said, they try to do it within 24 hours. So you'll know, like if you did it today, you'll likely know by tomorrow what you qualify for, what you need to do if you don't qualify quite yet. But there's not necessarily always a no, it's a win, right? Is that what I'm taking away from everything?
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Was there anything else you'd like to add, Lloyd?
No, I just appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Lene, having me on your show, and I'm glad everything's going good and properties out there are moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that if you're interested in purchasing a house, go ahead and get pre-approved before you start looking, so that way you're ready.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, sometimes the house may be on the market for 30, 60, 90 days. You get interested in it, and just as soon as you're interested in it, someone else is interested in it. And if you're not pre-approved and ready to make that offer, then that house could become someone else's. So don't let that happen.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. I've had that happen more in the last 2 years. My husband's sitting here for 45 days, and now we got 4 offers sitting here. Like, what is
Right. All at the same time. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, everybody, I also have a jot form attached to our description. So if you want to get up with Lloyd and you didn't get his phone number, it's been here on his little name tag the whole time as well. Just fill that out. I'll get it over to him. If there's any more questions, please feel free to post. But thank you for joining us today, Lloyd. I'm so grateful. And please tell Wendy and everybody we said hello.
I will. Everybody, make it a great day.
Yes.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Sunset falling on the news so slow, where the train went home and the stories flow. From Tryon Palace to the streets we roam. Yeah, this place ain't just a town, it's home.